Version 4.5's livestream just ended and gosh dang, time just flies by. But similar to every single version we had so far, we're presented yet again with beautiful new characters, and this time they're also summer themed. And oh, you know they're all as hot as melted butter, which is why today we'll be going through the new banners, their kits, their teams, and even the reruns to help you decide whether or not to pull for them. Here's the timestamps for convenience, and with that said, let's start. But just real quick though, I'd like to show you something. Listen, pulling for characters can be a train wreck like this one, which is why I'd like to introduce a website named Aniba. Aniba offers top-up services that I personally use in order to get the best top-up deals at the best price for the same top-ups that I already plan to purchase. You know I only use the trusted sources, which is perfect since Aniba complies with Hoyoverse's top-up service guidelines, and that's the biggest doubt removed. So to get all the hype new characters coming with Aniba, click my link in the description, select your region, purchase the bundle you'd like, enter yours or maybe even a friend's server and user ID, complete the purchase, and voila, your resources are in game, no fussy login required, zero hassle involved. You can even get exclusive cashback for your purchases that you can claim in your Aniba wallet for your next purchase, so it's just more money saved. If you're already planning on spending anyway, Aniba is honestly a good deal and why not give it a look-see? And this actually helps me very much to afford food on the table, and I appreciate your support. Now then, back to the video. To start with the first banner that we will see in the version, it will be the beautiful, the elegant Robin Summeretto. And we'll just skip right ahead to the summary. Robin Summeretto is a Remembrance Path character that plays the role of a general support, and you can see her as a potentially much stronger version of what Tribby is. Yeah, immediately just by saying that, you would know that Robin is probably the character that you don't want to miss here. We all know how good Tribby is when she got released, and even until now, tons of people that still use her. To jump into Robin's kit though, we aren't shown too much from the live stream, but we are shown of her mechanics for sure. With her talent, she can gain vibes if her allies perform certain actions, and vibes is the number right below her icon. Pretty funny name as well, just getting vibes. This vibes provide powerful buffs for the team the more of it that you have. It's likely something that includes defense ignore, more damage taken on enemies, and vulnerabilities too. All of that is enjoyed by practically every team in the game except for break teams. Using Robin's skill allows her to summon her first bird memo sprite, and as you gain more vibes, she'll summon up to 2 more memo sprites. After having 3 birds summoned, she'll go into a unique state similar to how base Robin does in her ultimate. Within this state, Robin Summeretto will deploy a zone, which buffs your whole team's damage output massively. That's not all though. Robin's ultimate is able to instantly action advance an ally to take the turn while regenerating their energy. At the same time, she'll increase her own vibes, allowing for her buffs for the team to get even stronger. This is again a near universally useful benefit, but specifically it'll help Remembrance team smooth out energy rotation. Like say with Evernight, it'll also aid Himiko Nova massively with energy as well, and it'll also allow a team with Saber to reach even higher heights. These are likely the 3 best teams you would consider Robin Summeretto in just by reading her kit, but of course she still has a lot of other uses. Now if you look at alternative teams for Robin Summeretto, you can obviously still think of her as a general support, with say just using her with Ashveil and More Than X Blade, plus any decent direct damage dealer. That would actually be a team that's going to be strong since Robin buffs your whole team, and teams with multiple sources of damage will definitely do well. And we all know how good Ashveil and Blade is at their own damage output, on top of getting good buffs that's generally usable for any main damage dealer that requires themselves to crit an enemy, right? Even without that, you can just use her in any team except for break teams. Elation teams can work to an extent. Any direct damage dealers will benefit obviously, which makes Robin Summeretto truly the versatile character. Rumor has it as well that with a simple E1, this Robin can even pull up a very strong damage output with her memo sprites, and yeah, that just looks like she does everything. All of it makes Robin Summeretto quite the valuable character for genuinely any accounts, and she's the one that I would announce as a closest thing to being unskippable, I suppose. But obviously, if you have enough teams, no characters are unskippable. You can't just skip until you die, with the reasoning being, oh, someone stronger is gonna get released in 10 versions, so we should save for that. So for pretty much anyone that plays the game, Robin Summeretto will be a valuable piece in your account for a long enough time to come that I think she's just a valuable pull. But again though, you only pull characters if you like them, right? With that out the way, I'm praying that I rob enough banks to afford Robin and consider still the next banner, which will be the summer themed Aventurine Waveflair. Gosh dang, he looks like he turned me into a maiden if I don't focus. To start with a summary, Aventurine Waveflair is a quantum element elation main damage dealer. Another elation main DPS, I say. To jump into his kit, his skill is an AoE attack, which gains in 4 punchlines and 4 fervors. The fervor Fervor is numbered right below his icon, but we'll talk more about that later. His ultimate, which has a very cool animation, allows him to deal massive damage to all enemies while gaining punch lines and fervor, as well as increased speed for himself. Now his talent though allows his skill and ult to deal extra elation damage if he has certified banger, which he usually always will. But more importantly though, every ally's attack will allow Aventurine to gain extra punch lines and extra fervors. Now to finally talk about fervor. When Aventurine reaches 10 fervor, he instantly uses his elation skill, which deals damage to all enemies plus more random instances of damage. Not only that, the next AHA instant elation skill that Aventurine uses will also then be enhanced, allowing him to perform an enhanced elation skill during AHA instant that does the same thing as the base elation skill, but it'll additionally consume all fervor and deal 1 instance of elation damage for every fervor consumed. If you can stack up a lot of fervors, this enhanced elation skill will hit like a truck. With all that said, it's pretty obvious how Aventurine is played. You want to gain punch lines, certified banger, and fervor as much as you can, and you can do that by just having a team that attacks a lot or a team that regenerates certified bangers and such. And once you reach 10 fervor, he'd use this elation skill while enhancing the one he'd used during AHA instant. The more fervor and certified banger you have, the more damage output Aventurine can put out. What is interesting though is to consider his best team options, because as you know, he has a talent that allows him to gain certified banger and fervor just by having allies attack, which means he isn't an elation character that must be used in an elation team or he's unusable, right? However though, we will have to see how his kit and numbers interact to know for sure what his best allies are. For now though, you can expect the full elation support setup like Yao Guang and Elation Trailblazer to be the immediate options for him. Now if his numbers are good enough, teammates with frequent attacks can also be used with him, like the classic Ashveil Modern X Blade combo, or maybe you mix in a Tribi. A mix of these characters plus say the new Robin Summeretto could also be a solid option. But in the end, as it is the case with any damage dealers, we will only know if they are worth picking up once we know how much damage they can do for sure. And since we already have multiple elation main DPS released before, you might want to wait and see how he performs before deciding. Now to pick between Robin and Aventurine in this version though, I personally still recommend Robin as the safe option with the most foreseeable returns. However, the smartest thing to do is to just wait and look at the official numbers of all these characters first. I'll be showcasing both of them early before their release in a few days, so do drop me a sub and stay tuned for that. But to conclude it all in one sentence though, I think Robin's the safe and high value option, while Aventurine's the more adventurous option. Now while I say Aventurine's more of the adventurous option, it doesn't mean he's weak though. He'll likely still have a version 4 damage dealer level of strength, which means if you really want to play him, don't worry about failing. He will be able to perform at the level of version 4, but obviously you do need his best ally, so you also have to decide based on that. Now to move on to the reruns, which in phase 1 we actually see Hyacine. For Hyacine, there isn't much to say. Most would agree that she's the strongest healer of the game. Her light cone is essential for some teams that want their HP reduced, and her existence in general is a big performance improvement for especially HP change teams, especially if you use the remembrance related teams. The thing is though, I still do recommend prioritizing the new Robin right now. Having her is like having a very versatile key character to multiple teams, something like a modern Tribi that can potentially be quite much stronger than Tribi herself. You would simply not mess up ever with Robin, at least the odds of it are low on paper. But then again though, maybe Hoyo just took a massive dumpster on Robin's numbers. We'll have to see for sure, but chances are she's designed to be a versatile character that a lot of players will find valuable. In any case, assuming you are already getting Robin, or let's say you're just skipping her, then I would actually still recommend Hyacine for players with HP change teams, or players who are lacking a good group of sustained characters to even survive. You do need 3 teams for endgame eventually, and the free options aren't exactly enough anymore to make 3 different teams. Hyacine so far is never the bad healer, so pulling her for the sake of having enough teams that can survive at least will be the first step for a lot of new players. But again, I'd prioritize Robin still, just to have that guaranteed character that you know can be used in at least one of your 3 teams for endgame, and to satisfying degrees where your damage ceiling is able to be pulled upwards. You can always get a healer or a sustain later, and at least you do have decent free options still. Ganghang PT is free after all, and you technically can still rely on Gallagher. Now as for phase 2's rerun, we see Ashveil. Now Ashveil on his own isn't going to be the versatile game changer for you, but in the right teams, he is a top tier character. As a sub DPS slash support, he provides crit damage increase and follow-up attack damage increase, while still having a generally valuable 40% defense reduction. Because of that general defense reduction, plus especially the crit damage as well, people tend to pair Ashveil with Modern X Blade to fully maximize each of their buffs and damage output, while both of them is also able to frequently attack and still generally buff whoever is the main damage dealer. Ashveil can also be used as a main DPS himself to a surprising degree of success with high damage output, but he's definitely skewed towards single target damage than anything, and he still still won't be performing at the level that defeats the other meta teams right now. Especially considering there are a lot of people that are running archers for sure, being a free single target character. There usually won't be a burning need for you to pull Ashveil to be your single target main DPS because, well, archer is free for sure, right? Which is why in the end, I still recommend prioritizing Robin in this case, then focusing on survival first since you die if you can, and only after that focus on your main damage dealers. The general rule of thumb I have is to always prioritize versatile characters that you know has minimal chance to not be used in your account in an extended period of time, and those type of characters tends to be versatile supports and sustained characters that pretty much forms the backbone of any teams. But as usual, if all of these are baloney to you, you can't just pull whoever you love, because in the end, stronger characters will always be released as time goes by. So there's really not a better time than now to enjoy the characters you love, right? But to get a conclusion though, I personally would prioritize Robin Summeretto in terms of meta and in terms of versatility and option for genuinely any account. As for Aventurine, I would pay attention to his numbers when he is released, and yeah, I'll be testing his performance out in the channel as well. So do follow along for that if you want to know. I would then recommend to make a decision after that, after finding out, right? And that will be all. Hope I helped you out, and take care.